You've now heard what someone said to me once of Brad, that he hears their voices. It was a friend of his, it's a Turkish man who's a great historian, Kenan Çelik. So I think you've just witnessed something beautiful. I'd now like to call upon those famous ladies and to come and speak for a moment. They're very shy. They're very good at getting information, but they don't like giving it out face to face. So please welcome Marilyn and Sue to the lectern.
Thank you, Heather. Yes, we are very shy to be with us. Well, today marks the culmination of a very long journey for Sue and I. When we first started on this project, we had no idea just how long it would take us. 5 years ago, we thought there was plenty of time to have it completed by the Anzac Centenary, but we encountered many bumps along the way. There were more World War I memorials and honour boards in the Shire than we first realised, and the list of names just kept on growing. It was disappointing that 2 of the honour boards, some marble tablets in the original Sutherland Congregational Church and also a board in the Sutherland Public School, can't be found today. That's very sad. And it wasn't an easy task to identify all the names. Our research skills were really put to the test. But here we are today, and we finally have a finished book. We've been asked many times what motivated us to start the project. Neither of us has a family connection to a Shire serviceman, but we both have a passionate interest in family history. My grandfather, Alexander Donald, fought in the Great War, and according to his dossier, he enlisted from Kensington. He died when I was 7 years old, so I have no first-hand accounts of his experiences. But some years ago, I was shown his gold fob watch, which had a medallion attached to it, with the inscription, "Presented by the people of Glenorrhy." Well, as far as I knew, we had no family connection to Glenorrhy, 44 kilometres northwest of Sydney, so it puzzled me why his name would be recognised by that community. My sister and I took a trip to Glenorrhy, and we found the memorial, and we found his name inscribed on it in the park. And as we stood there, I was saddened that probably no one in our family had ever seen it, and most likely no one in Glenorrhy knew of Alexander Donald, or of his life, or his family, or especially of the horrors he had experienced in July 1916, when the 5th Australian Division lost more than 5,000 casualties, including almost 2,000 dead, during a single night at Framel's. My grandfather, although wounded, survived the carnage and eventually returned home. But he never attended an Anzac Day service, and he never wanted to remember the war. Well, even though he didn't want to remember, I feel that his story and the stories of all those who served in the Great War shouldn't be forgotten. I then started to look at the names on the Shire memorials closer to home. The family historian in me wanted to know more than just an initial and a surname on a marble tablet. And unknown to me, Sue, our fellow member of the Botany Bay Family History Society, had already started to compile a database of names from the better-known Shire memorials in Sutherland and Miranda and Cronulla. Her interest was sparked while she was involved in the Botany Bay Family History Society project, transcribing headstone inscriptions in Rotorua Cemetery. While doing this, she found that on some of the family graves there were memorials to sons who had died during the First World War. So we joined forces, and the Sutherland Shire Memorials project grew to become this book. In 1918, a soldier who had returned wounded from the Western Front was recovering from his injuries in Randwick Military Hospital when he wrote a poem. He called it "To a Cobber." We've reproduced the poem in the book, but in the last 4 lines he wrote, "We were no splendid heroes, no medals did we gain, but God above bears witness, we bore our share of pain. And maybe someday, Cobber, in the distant by and by, there'll be a record written of the deeds of you and I." 1918. This record of their deeds in service and sacrifice is our tribute to the World War I soldiers and nurses named on all the Shire memorials. But in many cases, their stories couldn't have been told without the assistance of their families. I'll now hand over to Sue, who's going to continue on.
and it's the families that we have to thank. It's wonderful to see so many of our soldiers' relatives. We've spoken to you, emailed you, but we look forward to meeting you personally, and in the mad rush of everyone coming into the book launch, we haven't spoken to everyone yet. It's been a privilege for us to record your relative story. Here today are families of Ted Blood, Robert Ryan, William Burns, Jack Emanuel, Jim Finlayson, Joseph Hayes, Frank Hesselwood, William Hill, the Bentley brothers, Arthur and George, James Davey, Alan Kennedy, Edward Maligan, Alf McDermott, William MacDonald, Harold Murray, Leslie Muston, Ernest Norton, Desmond Nixon, Oscar Pedersen, Alexander Porter, Charles Ray, James Riley, and Harry and Richard Stork. Of our 431 men that are in the book, I think that's a pretty fair turnout of relatives. To you and the families who could not make it here today, we thank you so much for the information and photographs which have helped to make the book possible. Our hope is that this book will perpetuate the memory of our Shire servicemen and be a valuable record of the memorials themselves. Our thanks must also go to Scott Morrison for your interest in our work and supporting our application for funding under the Federal Anzac Centenary Local Grants Program. It was very special for us to see the stories from our book incorporated in this year's Anzac Day commemoration service in Cronulla Park. To Brad Manera, thank you for reading one of our very early manuscripts and giving us valuable insight into the First World War military history, which is obviously his thing, and for writing the foreword for our book. Thank you, Ken Stevenson, for your words today, and we wish you every success as you uncover the stories of the servicemen connected to Sydney Technical College. And I'm sure we'll be available if you need a hand, although we won't be writing. On the production side of things, we're very grateful to Bruce Welsh for his expertise in layout, photo editing and coordinating the printing of the book. Our thanks also go to Sutherland Shire Council, whose support through its Heritage Publication Grant enabled us to engage Deb Doyle as our editor. Thank you, Deb. Thank you also to Rachel Bell at Blush Design for our amazing cover. To the committee and members of Botany Bay Family History Society, your support is much appreciated. This magnificent poppy display over there in the corner is the result of the society members giving many hours to make poppies commemorating the Shire's servicemen as well as their own family members who served. From Monday, that display will be at the Research Centre on Gannons Road. To Noel, Jackie and Judy, we all thank you for organising the afternoon tea. And finally, while we have been advised there are at least 2 known honour boards within the Shire honouring World War II servicemen, we have been reliably informed by Peter and Ross that a sequel is highly unlikely. Thank you all for coming.